Hello, and welcome to another quiet, peaceful, and very gentle bedtime history reading. A place where nothing dramatic happens, where events move slowly, and details unfold like soft pages turning, one after another, at a calm, steady pace. If you are here to rest, to relax your mind, or to drift slowly into sleep, you are in the right place. Tonight, we will softly explore the long, slow, and very uneventful timeline of the American Civil War, a war filled with marching, waiting, writing letters, and very long, quiet days. So, find a comfortable position, close your eyes if you would like, and allow the calm rhythm of history to gently guide you toward rest. Let us begin, very slowly. The story begins many years before the first cannon was fired, in the early 1800s, when the United States was still young, still growing, still learning. States in the North and states in the South had different ways of life, different economies, different ideas. The northern states focused on factories, iron, steel, clothing mills, and large industrial cities. The southern states were quiet places of farms and plantations, growing cotton, rice, tobacco on wide open land, stretching far toward the horizon. And slowly, very slowly, disagreements grew. Disagreements that lasted for decades, debated in long meetings, inside warm rooms, filled with wooden chairs, heavy desks, and tall glass windows, letting in the soft afternoon light. People talked for hours and days and months, speeches spoken slowly, one sentence at a time, trying to find peace. But eventually, the long talks ended. The Civil War officially began on April 12, 1861. It was a calm morning in Charleston Harbor. The sky was light gray, and the air smelled faintly of the ocean. The water was quiet, barely moving, with gentle waves touching the stone walls of Fort Sumter. At 4:30 a.m., the first cannon was fired, a dull, distant echo rolling slowly across the harbor, like thunder far away. No one rushed. Nothing happened quickly. It was the beginning of a long, slow 4-year conflict, filled with preparation, planning, marching, and waiting. Most days in the war were not battles. Most days were ordinary and quiet and repetitive. Soldiers marched mile after mile, carrying heavy packs, canteens, wool blankets, hard bread called hardtack, and rifles polished each morning. Step by step, boots pressing into dirt roads, dust lifting softly with each step, lines stretching far across the countryside, moving slowly, steadily, like long gray and blue rivers flowing through the fields. When they stopped to rest, tents were raised. Thin canvas stretched between wooden poles, tied down with rope, flapping gently in the wind. Inside the tents, there were simple bedrolls, a lantern, and small personal items. A folded letter from home, a photograph tucked into a pocket, a tin cup, cool to the touch. Meals were quiet, beans slowly heating over campfires, the soft crackle of burning wood, spoons scraping against metal bowls in slow, steady rhythm. Evenings were filled with silence, soldiers writing long letters, carefully dipping pens into ink, forming words slowly, line by line, on pale paper. Some cleaned their rifles, taking each piece apart, oiling the metal, and putting everything back together, precisely, peacefully. Many simply waited, listening to wind move through tall grass, or to distant owls calling into the night. Uniforms were simple, and practical and somewhat uncomfortable. Union soldiers wore blue wool. Confederate soldiers wore gray wool. The jackets were heavy, thick material woven tightly. Buttons made of brass, polished slowly by hand until they shone softly in the sunlight. Belts were leather, smoothed and worn from marching. Boots creaked gently with each step. Canvas bags brushed quietly against clothing. Supplies traveled slowly, by wagon, by train, by steamboat. Wooden wheels turning inch by inch on long dirt roads stretching far across the landscape. Crates were stacked carefully, containing flour, rice, salt, tools, blankets folded neatly, rifle ammunition lined up precisely, everything placed in order. Even the smallest task took time and patience and waiting. Camp life followed a rhythm almost like a quiet song. Morning began with drums, a steady pattern echoing across the fields, calling soldiers to rise from sleep under wool blankets, still damp with dew. Coffee heated slowly in 10 kettles, steam rising gently in the crisp air. Then drills, hours of marching practice, left foot, right foot, arms lifting, rifles resting on shoulders. The same motions repeated again and again and again. Tents were arranged in straight lines, rows of identical shapes stretching neatly across an open field. Laundry hung carefully on ropes, shirts blowing softly in the wind. And at night, small fires glowed faintly, orange sparks rising into dark sky and disappearing quietly. The war continued through season after season. 1861, the beginning, Fort Sumter, soldiers mobilizing, camp lights glowing at dusk. 1862, the year of slow, steady marching, battles like Shiloh and Antietam, days of waiting, hours of planning, fields muddy after long rain. 1863, the long and exhausting campaign toward Gettysburg, wagon wheels turning slowly through dust, boot prints deep in the soil. President Lincoln stood quietly beneath the gray November sky and delivered the Gettysburg Address, a short, calm, 2-minute speech, spoken softly about unity and hope. 1864, factories worked day and night, producing uniforms, boots, tools. Trains carried coal, wood, steel slowly across snow-covered tracks. 1865, the final year, when everything became quieter and more tired and more still. On April 9, 1865, at a quiet house in Appomattox, Virginia, General Lee and General Grant met inside a small parlor room. The air was silent, only the sound of papers being unfolded and pens scratching lightly on the wooden table. The surrender agreement was written slowly, carefully, line by line, ink drying gently on white paper. And with quiet voices and calm handshakes, the long, slow war came to an end. Soldiers stacked their rifles, folded their tents, and began walking home, step after step, boots brushing softly against the road. Campfires went dark, drums fell silent, and fields once filled with soldiers became quiet again. And now, as the soldiers rest beneath the wide open sky, and the war fades into history, you too may rest. Let your thoughts slow down, like footsteps fading into distance. Let your breathing become gentle and steady. The night is calm, the world is quiet. Close your eyes and let sleep come softly, like peaceful wind through tall grass. Good night and sleep well.